Hello, beautiful people. It's Rosalie. Welcome to the Ultimate YouTube channel. I am going to check out the beautiful fairy voice mother, Lolli Wren, who just released a brand new album. And I want to check out some of her work. Are you ready? If you haven't yet, go check out Lolli Wren on YouTube, both her musical channel as well as her YouTube channel where she reacts to music. You will not regret it. This girl is so talented, so educated, so informed, and I can't wait to check it out with you. She has a brand new album, and I'm going to check out Lolli Wren, All Mine.
I read my poems, tales of danger, dark and alleys heavy, full of strangers. The grooves of my arms, the screams I bottled up for when I might feel strong enough to open them. A time I could let go. Let go. The dark crept out to live in me. A wide awake, recurring dream. When it takes hold, I feel it tight, yet familiar grip. Not a blessing or a sign, but it's all mine. All mine. Our forests hide among the trees. Our days are shadowed by the night. Our thoughts evolving into things, emerging truth among the lies. Watch me break the cycle of a broken home. There's no grudge or burden left. I let them go. Let go.
Ooh, Lolli! That run.
The dark crept out to live in me. A wide awake, recurring dream. When it takes hold, I feel a tight yet familiar grip. Not a blessing or a sign, but it's all mine.
Y'all, I'm gonna tell you in a second why I'm crying. Don't worry. I'm not having a breakdown. There's a reason. Lolly Wren, you beautiful, beautiful soul. Oh my word, this song is amazing. Okay, there's so many things I'm thinking and I don't know where to start. I'm crying because this is personal and powerful and deep. But let me start with categories just to keep order. The feeling I got from this music video and the musical arrangement gave me a little bit of that 90s vibe, early 2000s, and I loved it. And it's crazy because from the get go, I got that vibe from her voice and I couldn't place it. I can't even think of the artist right now, but there's this song that was personal to me where in the music video, the artist, it was a 90s or early 2000s song, the artist is like packing boxes and I think trying to pack up to leave. It's a really, if you heard it and I told you, you'd be like, oh yeah, I think I know which one you mean. You might, maybe not. And so from the beginning, the setting, the vibe had that feeling. And then sure enough, she's sitting there among boxes and I'm like, oh, maybe that's why my brain took me there. Lolly Wren's voice is so unique. From the way that she can glide into those high notes and that yodel to the grit and that rasp that she brings in, the rungs, the rungs. I can't speak anymore. The runs, those angelic runs she does in such a precise and high and clear and clean way. So much vocal control to the way that she brings an airiness and that lightness that she does sometimes. She demonstrated that to me in our interview as well. Go check that out if you're interested. She can just do so much with her vocals, with that vocal box, the way she utilizes it, the way that she utilizes her voice and taps into all these different techniques. As I said, the airiness, the grit, the rasp, the runs. It not only sounds beautiful and is a wonderful auditory experience, but it brings in different emotions. And you guys know we like talking about psychology and philosophy here. And the voice alone impacts us from the way that it may feel lighthearted or somber or scary and deep when people do things with their voice. It affects how we hear, what we're thinking of, where our mind takes us, what we feel, how maybe we project onto the artist, right? I was definitely transferring here hard. And I wasn't looking at this as her therapist. I was looking at this as a friend, as a person who loves psychology, who has worked as a therapist and a teacher who loves music and sings myself. I came at this from a analytical standpoint, but then I transferred and projected my own past experiences because it was so personal. Okay, so music can do that with us. We can project, we transfer, we imagine, we feel. And what she was doing with her voice was just so beautiful, like a red thread throughout. Then you talk about the musical composition and the way that the drums kicked in, the rhythmic elements, the type of rhythm that was chosen, that crescendo to the airiness that it brought in, the strings, the dynamics. It was fluid and it was painful and it fit to this idea of being tied and trying to come to terms with something like that. The whole musical arrangement very unique. It was beyond this verse chorus track that you have playing in the background to more of this beautiful piece that you want to enjoy, but yet the hook and the melody and chord progression was so catchy that it actually is something I would totally love to jam out to. It had that feeling like one of those songs that could be legendary that you hold on to over the years and you listen to again decades later and go, oh, I remember that one. You know, that's kind of the feeling I got. Beautiful Lolly with her beautiful attire, very eclectic, the lace, almost nightgown looking dress. I don't think it was a nightgown, but it had that feeling. It had an elegant, gentle feel. It had a lot of femininity and beauty to it. When it started with a little girl on the bed playing with her teddy bears and dolls, which I think was supposed to imply young Lolly, and then playing with her flute, being scared of what was happening outside of her room, the body language of this little girl, the facial expressions, and her going to play with her flute, it felt like there's trauma happening. Something bad is happening in the rest of the house, some type of abuse, some type of toxicity, some type of harm. And this girl is hiding away in her room with her posters on the wall, playing with her toys. And it's so powerful because the idea of the song throughout is, and the title of the song is All Mine, right? So you have this little girl who's playing with what we would assume is all hers, her teddy bear, or she's going to play with her flute. It's all hers, right? But ironically, in our development, especially when we experience trauma, the things that are all ours, our toys, the instruments we play, the things we are told to do or that we choose to do, sometimes they don't feel like they're really all ours because of the dynamics of abuse. Now, I don't know Lolly's story directly, but I'm going to speak just of personal experience. When there's addiction and physical and emotional abuse, even the things that are ours don't quite feel like ours because, for one, an unstable caregiver or abuse or addiction would easily make the child feel like things are not stable, they're not secure. There's a lack of feeling safe, which is what children need. So therefore, whatever we have, earthly possession-wise, doesn't feel like it's all ours. It could be taken away at any second. A parent could break it. Maybe it also doesn't feel like all ours because the things we do are to please the parent. We do things either responding with rebellion and now going on the other extreme end of extremes, or we comply, we become the parent for our parent, we become super obedient and meticulous and diligent, and whatever instrument we're playing, in this case the flute, we're doing this to appease a parent or to distract ourselves from the parent or caregiver or situation in the house, or we do it for comfort. But either way, it's all being done heavily influenced by the circumstances, possibly the broken home circumstances around us, versus it being genuinely all ours. There's still something that ties us to the toxicity. I'm doing this maybe to escape my abusive parent. I'm doing this because my abusive parent said I have to, or to please them, or I'm playing with these toys in my room to escape the broken home, right? There's these ties, these ropes that connect us to these things we're doing and having and playing with and experiencing. And there's this association with trauma. Even if it's something that brings you joy, I'd say you play the flute to find comfort, to escape the broken home. It's still tied to the broken home. You're still playing the flute to escape the pain, or you're playing the flute to appease the one who is inflicting pain, or you're playing the flute because it brings you joy. The link is still to a broken home. The link is still to what's happening outside of that door. Those ropes are still tying us, chaining us. And so it doesn't quite feel like it's all ours, right? It could be taken at any moment. It could be broken by someone abusive at any moment. There's a lack of uncertainty and safety, and that causes deep distress and pain. And then you have these pictures of young Lolli, teenage Lolli, and adult Lolli, who in the end picked up the flute again. And it was this beautiful full circle. And I loved it because the second time around, when she found the flute in the box as she was unpacking, right? Also really a powerful metaphor to life. Beyond just unpacking boxes when you're literally moving, it also implies unpacking our trauma, unpacking life, unpacking our story. And we find things as we dig through the broken pieces sometimes, including that flute and the memories that come flooding with that. For her to then stand there, beautiful as she is, with the flute in the end, I feel implies hope, because now that the rope is burnt, I feel like it implies she's picking up parts of herself again that are now all hers. They're no longer tied to with the ropes. They're no longer tied to a broken home or her past or whatever other previous associations she had. She's reclaiming it. She's going to play the flute again. This is hers, and she's going to play it full circle as an adult who is healing, who is not, as she said in the lyrics, holding on to grudge. She's let that go, and she talked about letting go a couple of times, which is a powerful image when we're speaking of being roped and chained and tied to something. But that also is powerful psychologically because there's healing in letting go. A lot of times we feel anxious when we are bringing the past into the present. We feel depressed or anxious when we worry about the future. But when we untie ourselves, when we let go, healing can actually happen. And it's part of a very painful healing process. We sometimes romanticize healing because it sounds nice. Hope sounds pretty. Seeing flowers bloom in the middle of a pile of ashes looks hopeful. We all long for hope. We all long for the light to break through the shadows. But the heavy part is that it's not romantic. It's painful, and you actually have to do the work. You have to light the match. You have to burn these ropes. And so for her to be tied to these ropes, that theme throughout the video, so powerfully, so powerfully conveyed both trauma and pain, being held back by something, to then letting go and being set free. But what was very deep here, and this is why this is such a masterpiece, this is one of those deep songs that I feel like is not just relatable to those of us who've experienced a broken home, but is also relatable to those of us who struggle with addiction, which is also a way of being chained and being roped and having to find a way to burn those ropes and say, you know what, I'm taking back who I am. I'm going to find something that's all mine. This applies to various life situations. Someone who's addicted, who's chained to their substance of addiction, doesn't feel like they belong to themselves. They belong to the drug. They belong to whatever's chained them. They're being mastered and controlled by whatever they're enslaved to and addicted to. So to be able to heal to a point where you can take back who you are, free from those ropes and those ties to say, this is going to be all mine. But here, what is powerful is even in the bridge, she speaks of that shadow that was completely taking over. The black hole, as she calls it, this vacuum that takes over, it swallows all her pride. It completely breaks and humbles her. But that's all hers. That type of perspective is powerful. And I think that's therapeutic because beyond saying, I've experienced bad, but good has come out of this. I'm not going to hold a grudge. I'm going to forgive and let go. This is part of my story, the darkness that happened here. Who I am now is all mine. Going deeper than that, saying, even the darkness, even that black hole that swallowed me up is all mine. All of this, the dark part of my story, the brokenness, the broken flute, I think it was more so just broken apart when it needs to be packed, or perhaps it was supposed to look like an actually broken flute. The ropes, all of the things that are heavy, that connect us to our trauma, a broken home, or whatever that may be in your life, is all mine. Taking that type of ownership, I think, empowers someone who was powerless. If you've experienced a broken home, be it because of abuse, addiction, neglect, assault, divorce, whatever suffering was inflicted on you in your young years, in your adolescence, or even growing up, there is something powerful about a perspective shift of saying, I'm not going to look at all these things as things that are being done to me, and I'm helpless, and I have no power and no control. I'm tied. My hands are tied. I can't do anything. I'm going to say, you know what? Even the ropes are mine. Even the shadow that swallowed my pride, that consumed everything, is mine. This is part of who I am, and this is all mine. I get to decide. I feel like that's a very powerful way of taking back what was taken from you. Taking back power where the little child in you or the young adult in you felt powerless. To say, you know what, I'm not going to deny that part of me. I'm not going to reject that part of me that was abused. I'm not going to reject that part of me that was hurt. I'm not going to keep giving that to my abuser. They damaged me. There's always going to be a tie to the abuser, to the broken home, to the caregiver who failed you, to the person who SA'd you, to the person who caused you harm. If our perspective is they took that. Because if somebody takes something from you, they now have it. It's in their possession, and you can't ever get it back, no matter how much you cry, no matter how much you plea, no matter how much you hate them, no matter how bitter you are, no matter how much you hold on to grudge and bitterness, which also will tie you to them. They have the power. They took it away from you. But by saying, you know what? These broken pieces, even the absence of things, the shadow of things, is all mine. Okay? I hope I'm making sense. If you broke this and you took a part of this, if my perspective is you have the handle, let's say you broke this and you take the handle away. If my perspective is you have the handle and I'm going to be bitter now till you give it back. But even if you give it back, it won't undo what you broke. Or I will make a whole new mug and just pretend this one was never broken. Or I will drink out of it with anger or with resentment. Whatever the case, I still continue to give you power because you took the handle away and I'm focused on what was taken. Instead of saying, you know what, this handleless mug is all mine. This is all mine, even without the handle, even with whatever was broken. It's all mine. That's how I'm interpreting the song, saying all of this is mine. I'm going to heal. The rope is mine. The flute is mine. The story is mine. Even the parts that feel like they're missing or broken are mine. This is who I am. And Lolli is turning her own trauma and story into something so powerful. And I started crying when she said, I'm breaking the cycles of a broken home. The alliterations there between breaking, and broken were powerful, for one, just poetically worded. But the message there got me because that's exactly what I'm doing, friends. I'm working hard by trying to create and inspire others, by seeking therapy myself, by trying to be therapist and mentor to others, by doing differently by my children. I am breaking the cycle of a broken home. I'm working hard not to repeat that cycle. And even if you don't come from a broken home, but there's other parts of your life that have been broken, be it through a divorce, a relationship ending, a career ending, through someone dying, through dynamics with your children. As long as you're breathing, it is not too late to make things right, to ask for forgiveness, to turn around, to seek help if you're struggling with addiction, if you have been abused, to seek therapy and find healing. It is not too late. to burn those ropes and to say, you know what? All of this, all of my story is me, the more we resent the missing pieces, the more we live in regret, the more that we uh, resent the ropes of our life, the tighter they will get. Instead of saying, you know what, these are part of me, this is mine. No, nobody is holding onto the other side of that rope. They're yours. For yours to burn with, yours to hold on to, for you to rewrite your story. You are allowed to rewrite your story, friend. Nobody else gets to decide. So I just want to speak life over you. If someone said that you're not good enough or that you're too much, you are not too much. You are more than enough. You are exactly what other people need. That's what my therapist reminded me of today. Shout out to Suzette. She reminded me that where I was too much for others is exactly what others need now. The too much of the past is the just right for some of you guys who are listening to me. What you have to give and who you are, your story, is exactly what other people need. And it's part of you. It's just yours. Nobody can take that. So take your life back, friend. Choose life. Dance in the light. Please go check out Lolli Wren. Subscribe to her channel, people, because she's amazing. Listen to her music. Check out her brand new album, This Was All Mine by Lolli Wren. I'm amazed. I'll see you on the next ride. Subscribe. Ayo.